So stories start with a Suzume Wado, who is a 17-year-old girl who lives with her aunt in Kyushu. One night, she dreamed of her mother in a dilapidated neighborhood when she was a child. The next day, she meets a guy who is looking for abandoned places with doors. Suzume tells her about an old hot spring resort nearby, and the two go there together. She finds a door with a starry field through it, but she can't get through. She picked up a living cat statue and ran away. Suzume gets scared and goes back to school. Then she sees a strange pillar of light at the onsen, but no one else sees it. She turned around and saw the guy trying to close the door. Suzume helps him, and they manage to shut him down just in time. The column disappears, but it does some damage to the city. Suzume brings the man, Suda Munakata, to her home to help bandage his wounds. He tells her that he travels all over Japan locking the doors of abandoned places in order to prevent a large supernatural worm from causing earthquakes. Suddenly, the station cat appeared and turned Suda into a baby chair. The three-legged chair chased the cat to the ferry terminal to Ehime, followed by Suzume. Suda explained that the cat was a keystone and that pulling it closer to the abandoned door caused the worm to be released. In Ehime, Suzume and Suda used social media to track down the cat, which was named Daijin by the locals who took a photo of it. They followed Daijin through Shikoku with the help of a villager named Chika, and eventually find the worm in an abandoned school. With Chika's help, they close the worm's entrance and stay at her house overnight. Suzume finds out that this school used to be Chika's middle school. The next day, a woman named Rumi takes Suzume and Suda to Kobe. When they arrived, Rumi asked Suzume to look after her twins and help her at her bar. At the bar, Suzume sees Daijin sitting among the customers and realizes that the worm has returned. She and Suda pursue Daijin to an old abandoned amusement park, where they confront Worm. Suda asks Daijin to become the keystone again, but Daijin refuses and wants to play with Suzume. When Suzume tries to close the door, she sees the starry field again and recalls her childhood and the figure of an unknown woman in the distance. Suda saves Suzume from falling and helps him close the gate. He explains that the portal leads to the forever after, where souls go after death. They spend the night at Rumi's bar, where Suda reveals that he is losing his sense of self in his chair form. After tracking Daijin to Tokyo, Suda begs Suzume to drive them to his apartment. It tells the legend of the Namazu worm and the two dome stones needed to pacify it, one in the east and one in the west. Daijin serves as the western crest stone, but the location of the east crest stone is unclear. If the worm were to emerge in Tokyo, the city would be in danger of being completely destroyed, just like the Great Kanto earthquake of 1923. When the worm reappeared, Suzume and Suda chased after it, eventually disappearing into a giant sphere in the sky. Daijin introduces himself and reveals that he has converted his keystone function to Suda's chair form. In Suzume's hands, Suda transforms into a keystone and she must seal it. She does so and falls into a cave filled with water, where the Tokyo portal is located. When she awoke, she saw Keystone Suda in the ever after, but was again unable to enter the kingdom to save him. Daijin eagerly approaches Suzume and offers to be her cat, but she becomes angry and almost throws him away before throwing him in the water and telling him to never talk to her again. Later, Suzume visits Suda's grandfather in the hospital, who reveals that her ability to sense the worm and eternity through doors indicates that she has accidentally crossed the kingdom in the past. Also, the only way for her to re-enter the ever after and save Suda is to go through the door she used earlier. After being joined by her aunt Tamaki, who had followed her from Kyushu, Suzume went to her hometown of Tohoku, which was devastated by the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, and Suda's friend, Tomoya Serizawa, whom she met at Suda's apartment before the worm appeared. They went to the ruins of Suzume's old house. During the pause, Suzume realizes that Tamaki is possessed by Sadaijin, the Oriental Stone. In her old house, Suzume finds the door of the Forever After and enters it with Daijin and Sadaijin. Inside Forever After, Suzume sees her town as after the disaster, and Sadaijin distracts the worm while she awakens Suda and returns him to human form. Daijin became the keystone again, realizing the price to pay for his freedom. Along with Daijin and Sadaijin, Suzume and Soda sealed the worm, preventing it from leading the Ever After. While in Forever After, Soda sees a child who turns out to be Suzume from 12 years ago. Suzume remembers entering the kingdom as a child after her mother passed away. She gives herself the childhood chair and tells her about her future before young Suzume leaves forever with the chair, leading to her being found 12 years ago by Tamaki. Suzume and Soda left Ever After and went their separate ways, Soda returning to Tokyo and Suzume and Tamaki returning to Kyushu. They reunite with the friends that Suzume has made during her journey.